Happy New Year! Hey everybody, welcome back to the cafe. Today we are going to be diving in to my top 10 indie games of 2022. This is a little bit belated because over break I ended up taking some time to practice what I preach, and I hope you did this too. I took some time to rest and eat some good food and relax and spend time with friends and family, and it was great. It also gave me time to finish up some of the games that launched mid-December and still consider them as part of this collection. It was extremely tough to pick the top 10 games of 2022 because I think we had a really solid year, but I did it. As a heads up, these are games that had the most impact for me. They're games that I think are all top tier experiences, and these games spanned a lot of different styles and genres and all of that, but I did try to rank them. So there we go. Last thing, and then I swear we're onto the list. I am only human, and I've only played a certain number of games. I think, according to my Switch and then Steam replay, it ended up being upwards of about 130 games and demos that I've played this year. So I have played quite a bit, but I haven't played everything. So there's a strong chance that your favorite game or games may not be on this list. And if they're not, know that, again, this is just me making a list for games that I personally really loved, and use this as an opportunity to share with me what you loved and why, because we all connect to different games for different reasons, and I'd love to hear what really resonated with you. All right, so let's get into it. Melatonin. I've already waxed poetic about Melatonin multiple times this year, but I really can't get enough of this rhythm game. It's stylish, short, and sweet. Melatonin says exactly what it needs to in the space of time it has. On the surface, the story takes you through 7 restless nights, with each evening filled with common waking anxieties, hopes, and dreams. Hamburgers fly into your mouth, you shop until you drop, work long days at the office, and more, all to the beat of the music. At its core, this is a game about the cycles of growing up and growing older and finding yourself amidst all the experiences we accrue throughout our waking hours. Beacon Pines. Choose Your Own Adventure books were some of my favorites as a kid, and Beacon Pines is structured just like those titles, complete with going back to strategic points to be able to change your response and see how that adjusts the ending. Luca, a young deer, has had a rough time. His father passed away, his mother's also missing, and his grandmother has moved in to help raise him. Fortunately, it's almost time for the annual festival, and summertime weather means Luca and Rollo, his best friend, are able to spend the days adventuring. After a worrying discovery of a body and a strange neon substance at the abandoned factory by town, both boys are drawn into a conspiracy that may unravel something sinister at the heart of their cozy village. Beacon Pines doesn't reinvent the wheel. Anyone who's watched mysterious, fantastical, coming-of-age adventures like Stranger Things or E.T. will find this to be pretty familiar fare. But the writing and narration are done so well, you won't mind treading known territory because the characters and the world are so endearing and memorable.
But I do know one thing. This is a story about change.
Cult of the Lamb. I feel like everyone I knew was playing Cult of the Lamb at some point this year. Not only did this game stand out to me because of its stellar Twitch integration, which allowed me to bring in members of the chat into our very own kimchi cult, but the way that it blended genres to allow for an experience that whetted lots of elements of my appetite. If I was in the mood to be a bit cozier and fill my time with just town management, I could spend that focusing on my cult following and building up a beautiful home for them to reside in. The majority of the game, though, is a bit more action-oriented. You journey out into the woods in search of the heretics who betrayed the one who waits, and tried to do you in at the start of the game. And while I don't think it necessarily excelled at all of what it does, in this case the sum is truly greater than all its parts, and it makes for one of the most entertaining games of the year. Chained Echoes. Latecomer Chained Echoes launched in December, but when playing it quickly captured my heart and attention. That put this 2D JRPG with swords, magic, and mechs onto the list. Throughout my playthrough, I felt the inspiration from titles like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, as well as franchises like Xenoblade and Suikoden. But the game manages to balance the comfortable nostalgia while also trying out new things. Set on the continent of Volandis, Chained Echoes has you gathering together a motley crew of thieves, nobles, and mercenaries who find their fates chained together to prevent a major war from occurring. I really enjoyed getting to know the vast cast of characters and learning about this world, its history, and its politics. There were a fair number of twists and turns that I didn't expect that surprised me in good ways and definitely kept me on my toes. Tinykin. When any media can help me look at the world with a fresh perspective, I appreciate it, and Tinykin does that delightfully and with lots of polish. As Milo the astronaut, you are trapped on Earth and need to find a way back to your home planet and to your normal size. But being small has its benefits. You'll be able to enlist the help of hundreds of tiny creatures called Tinykin to help you explore the big house that you've crash-landed in and meet its inhabitants. This game was just plain fun, a joyful 3D platformer and collectathon where exploring each level will leave you feeling excited about what's around the next corner. There's no combat, and if you're looking for a challenge, this may not be up your alley, but I found that searching for all of the Tinykin and pollen was very satisfying, and have found myself humming songs from the outstanding soundtrack. Signalis. Signalis is survival horror done right. I'm not usually a fan of the genre, so the amount to which I enjoyed this game surprised even me. You'll wake up as Elster, a technician replica looking for something. A person, a memory. As you explore the remains of your world, you'll begin to piece together what may have occurred that led you to be crash-landed on this strange planet. Signalis deserves multiple playthroughs to fully grasp everything the story presents, because every detail you encounter matters in some way, and many details can be interpreted in multiple ways, which I loved. Although I sometimes felt like I had to backtrack a little bit more than I would have personally liked, the mood and story more than made up for it. The oppressive atmosphere, the growing sense of paranoia and uncertainty of reality, and tense balance of resource management made this a standout horror experience. Tunic. Tunic released relatively early in 2022, but it has stuck in my mind as one of the most impactful titles of the year. No other game inhabited my mind the way Tunic did while I was playing. I was taking notes, reviewing what I did in the VODs before stream, talking with friends. This was a game that took over. You're not given much to start with when you begin Tunic. You're a little fox on a mysterious island, and it seems there's something to be unlocked and vanquished, and you'll put all this together through images and some knowledge of previous and similar game tropes, as there's no written language that we can understand, at least at the start. Much of my enjoyment was found outside of the game in addition to the act of playing it. Again, in studying the pages of notes collected, finally figuring out the next steps, and yelling at my past self for focusing on the wrong clues. More than anything, this game reminded me of being a kid, pre-internet, and puzzling through games like Zelda on my own, and I loved it for that. Citizen Sleeper. For folks who love RPGs and hate capitalism, this sci-fi narrative adventure manages to tackle complex themes thoughtfully as you embody a sleeper trying to make their living in a remote space station. You are built to become obsolete. You don't play as a human, but as a sleeper, a piece of property created for the purpose of labor and nothing more. But you're also imbued with awareness of yourself and of your predicament, and you've escaped. Your goal is to try to survive, or maybe not. Maybe build a community and help those around you, or don't. This game allows you to shape your future. Citizen Sleeper, especially the first 2/3, will capture the tension and stress of living in a futuristic but still very familiar space colony. And while you may be thinking, wait, I live in a capitalist society and I experience these struggles every day, why should I hop into a game about this? Just trust me. Citizen Sleeper is one of those titles that will get you to think about more than the game itself. I've already mentioned how it addresses capitalism, but the game brings up ideas of personhood, freedom, and power, among other themes that make it so compelling beyond the immediate story. And what I found surprising and most exciting, was that the game can be incredibly hopeful. Vampire Survivors. I didn't want to like Vampire Survivors. I didn't even want to start playing it. But I did because everyone was talking about it, and oh my goodness, I am so happy I caved because this game taps into my little lizard brain, lights up all the neurons and synapses in there in the best of ways. The premise is simple. Pick a character, you're dropped into a map, monsters start spawning, and you must defeat them. With each round, you'll pick up new upgrades, and the strategy comes from the combinations you can create to make the ultimate build, causing you to be the bullet hell, which is their slogan, but it's such a good slogan, I had to say it. On every run, I've continued to be able to find ways to push myself, the game continues to find ways to unlock new items for me to use and upgrades to explore, and it makes me excited to play just one more run. And now for the final title, the game that I personally enjoyed most this year, my number one for 2022, and that is Wylde Flowers. Don't let the cozy exterior of this game lull you into thinking it's just a simple farming sim. I love Wylde Flowers. Not only does it do an incredible job with solid farming and crafting mechanics, but it also includes a diverse cast, incredible voice acting, and a depth of storytelling that makes this a standout experience. In Wylde Flowers, you are Tara, a young woman moving in with her grandmother to help out with the family farm, and perhaps get a fresh start all on her own. It's a familiar beginning to many a cozy farming sim, but with one notable difference. Turns out, Grandma is a witch, and as you build life on the farm, you'll balance that with fostering your magical talents and discovering the history and the community of the island. There is much more than meets the eye, and trouble starts to brew in the local community as word of a potentially dangerous coven gets around town. More than anything, I was pleasantly surprised at the themes this game was willing to approach. Small town life, politics, community, faith and religion, finding yourself, they're all up for exploration in this narrative. Basically, if you have any interest in wholesome games, this is a must play. Again, I have played so many games this year, I had to throw in and just make this video a little extra longer, a few special mentions. So, without further ado, Coral Island. It's still in early access, but it's the game I spent by far the longest time playing this year in terms of hours. I think it's shaping up to be one of the strongest farming sims out there, and it's anticipated to release in 2023. Islets, a very charming Metroidvania that isn't overly challenging or deep, but very enjoyable all the same. Probably one of my favorite Metroidvanias of the year, and I spent most of my holiday break playing this game. Rhythm Doctor. A rhythm game with incredible heart, this is another early access title, and the game's development is continuing to go strong, and they do have a free demo available if you'd like to give it a try. One Shot. This game did not release this year, but so many folks on TikTok and in my daily life have recommended this game to me, and after finally playing it over break, I get it. This game made me ugly cry, and finishing it is up there with all-time faves like Undertale and Outer Wilds as just a pivotal game memory. So that's it. Those are my top 10 plus a few extra. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, I'd love to hear what games resonated with you because this is a personal list. This is me just saying what I enjoyed over 2022. I'm really excited for 2023 to experience games, share them with you, and really just enjoy what they have to offer. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that follow button, that subscribe button, I don't know what it's called anymore, and find me on TikTok and Twitch as well under the handle Kimchica, and yeah, thank you so much. I hope you're having a good start to the new year, and I think that's probably it. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. You're finding lots of great games to play, and I'll see you next time in the cafe. Bye!